Alright, gonna make this video quick because I got a city to defend. So Loki Season 2 Episode 3 has dropped on Disney Plus, and whoa. This is actually the longest episode yet at like 55 minutes, and so there is a lot to unpack. So spoiler warning, if you have not yet watched this episode and you're planning on it, do not watch this video because I will be talking about what happens in it in detail. If you have watched it or you don't care, then you can stick around. Alright, let's do it. So this episode starts off, we actually get to see where Renslayer ended up going after the events of the Season 1 finale. We see that she and Miss Minutes are palling around, and basically they trigger a canon event. Yeah, they deliver a TVA guidebook to a young Victor Timely, so yeah, I was pretty much spot on last week. This episode is indeed where Victor Timely comes in. And so yeah, this is our mission. We get to the post-credits scene of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Because like we established, we need someone with the temporal aura of He Who Remains to fix the temporal loom. So Loki and Mobius go back to the Chicago World's Fair back in 1893, where most of this episode takes place. And we meet the one and only Victor Timely. And man, oh man, Jonathan Majors, say what you want about him, but you can't deny how good of an actor he is. Because Victor Timely here, he's like stuttering and nervous and shy, socially awkward. He's kind of a Poindexter. I was like, yeah, this is a completely different personality from He Who Remains and Kang the Conqueror. Although we actually learned that Victor Timely here is the one who will eventually become He Who Remains, which is why we're here. We're back on the sacred timeline. Pretty important, I'd say, and good to know he got over that stutter. And so we see that because Victor Timely got the TVA guidebook, he's created his own little temporal loom. So yeah, this is the right guy. And so the chase ensues. We got Loki and Mobius going after Victor Timely, and also Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes are going after him. I mean, along with those other guys who are pretty much irrelevant cartoons, so I'm not even gonna bother talking about them. And Sylvie. She eventually shows up too. I guess she just couldn't help herself. She had to get back into the fight, so now she wants to kill this guy. Eventually, Victor Timely ends up with Ravonna Renslayer and Miss Minutes, and this is where some pretty interesting things start to happen. I'll be honest, when I was watching these scenes between the three of them, I was like, I actually kind of love this, because we see that Victor Timely and Ravonna Renslayer are growing close. They have an attraction to each other, and I was like, yeah! Because again, Kang and Renslayer have a romance in the comics. So it was cool to definitely see that here. What I was not expecting was how Miss Minutes would feel. Seriously, when Timely and Renslayer are talking, the look on Miss Minutes' face, I was like, is she jealous? Is this gonna be like Miss Minutes and Ravonna Renslayer fighting for his attention? Because that's pretty funny if you ask me. Although Renslayer does say, I look forward to our partnership, and we remember from earlier on in the episode, Victor told that one guy, I don't do partners. And so right there, we see Miss Minutes and she's like, this is my moment now. Renslayer done goofed. And so Miss Minutes and Victor Timely, they throw Renslayer overboard. Yeah, so Miss Minutes wins that rivalry. And so Miss Minutes and Victor Timely, they get to his lab, and I'll be honest with you guys, this scene, it was the last thing I was expecting. Cause Miss Minutes, as my friend described, she goes full yandere. She starts going on about how he never made her a body cause she wants to be his woman apparently. I was watching this like, oh my god, so she wants to be like Ana de Armas from Blade Runner 2049. That's what I thought of. Yeah, Miss Minutes, she's got the hots for him. That to me was like the biggest shock of this whole episode. I don't even know if this is good or bad, I was just shocked. But then everyone else shows up for the final confrontation. We learn that Renslayer's true goal is really, she's just power hungry. She just wants to run the TVA now. She's going on about how she did her job for eons regardless of her own happiness and wants, which actually does make sense when you think about what she said at the end of Season 1 where she's like, I'm in search of free will. Yeah, she wants her own free will. She wants to run the shit. And then Sylvie shows up again. And actually, it goes down different this time. Victor Timely actually convinces her not to kill him. Which totally does work for me, actually. I mean, shit, give the guy a break. He's begging for his life. He doesn't know any of this TVA shit, aside from the guidebook he got as a kid. The whole multiversal war and shit, he doesn't know anything about it yet. He really is innocent. At this point, anyway. I can see why Sylvie would want to kill him, but in the end, Loki and Mobius win out, and they bring Victor Timely back to the TVA with them. So good, alright, our good guys win. Looks like we're gonna have a chance to fix the temporal loom. And meanwhile, Sylvie sends Renslayer and Miss Minutes back to the Citadel at the end of time. So yeah, we're back there now. And we see the rotting corpse of He Who Remains. I was not expecting that. I was like, holy shit. That's pretty gnarly. And this episode ends with Miss Minutes going, this guy shouldn't have made an enemy out of someone who knows all his secrets. And she turns to Renslayer and she's like, I know a big one about you. I would tell you, but it would make you very angry. I was like, aw man, it's gonna cut to black right there? I mean, obviously I want to know what the secret is, but my question is, are we ever gonna learn that? Cause let's face it, some of these Marvel Disney Plus shows, they do tend to leave some loose ends. Like in Moon Knight, we never really learned what happened to that goldfish. That's a loose end they just left open. So I hope they don't leave this one open here in Loki Season 2, cause it feels like some pretty important shit. So in the end, Loki Season 2 Episode 3 was pretty crazy. The pacing was a bit slow, I will admit. I don't feel like it needed to be 55 minutes long. It felt a bit stretched out, but that's counterbalanced by the just shocking shit that goes down here. Pretty crazy. We are now halfway through Loki Season 2, which means it's time to rev up for the end. I have a feeling it's gonna be pretty big. So, Loki Season 2, Episode 3, 1893. Have we watched it yet? What are your thoughts on it? What are your thoughts on Miss Minutes going full on yandere? And what are your theories and predictions for next week? Whatever you think, go ahead and leave a comment. And of course, thank you for subscribing. Now, if you'll excuse me, like I said, I got me a city to defend. Spider-Man 2, baby, let's do this! Peace!